From. Welcome to today's session and where to land the best paying work from home jobs, without any prior experience whatsoever. Now, just before we kickstart the session, I want you to take a minute, right? Just go ahead to share the link across your network, share the link across your social media, invite people who you think might benefit from this session in any way, because this is going to be a very, very interactive session. So I'm just going to give you 1 minute, just go ahead to share the link across, your network. Anyone who you feel like is interested in landing a remote job, whether this person is your brother, whether this person is your colleague, your family member, your friend, just go ahead to share the link. All right, so we're going to kickstart the session right now. I also want you to just take a moment to introduce yourself in the chat box as well. So I'm going to be introducing myself shortly, but I also want to get to know you. So I want you to put your name and where you're joining us from in the chat box. So just put your name and your location. That's all I need. So I'm going to be looking in the chat box to see, the different people we have on this session today. All right, let's just start. I want to see the names rolling in. Just your first name. You don't have to give me your full name. Your first name and where you're joining us from. Isaac from UK, welcome, Isaac. That name looks very familiar. Pius from Liberia, welcome. Uh, Folashade from Nigeria, welcome. Martins from London, UK. Chimezie from Scotland. Nina from UK. Taffy from UK. Okay, we have a lot of people from UK. And then we have Christabel from Canada. Tony from UK as well. Fantastic. It looks like the UK folks are winning this round. Thank you so much, everyone. You can just keep it coming, okay, while we start the session. So today's session is going to be about, the best paying work from home jobs you can get with no prior experience required, whether you are in the UK, you are in the US, or you are in Canada. Now, across the different regions, even regions that are not mentioned here. So whether you're in Africa, you're in Asia as well, these are the best paying remote jobs that you can get with no prior experience in tech whatsoever. Now, before I start off the session, I want to quickly talk about Tenalytics, right? Who are we here at Tenalytics and how exactly do we do what we do? Tenalytics is a leading educational technology company, and we are focused on providing specialized training in technology skills, as well as delivering comprehensive data consulting services. Now, what this means is outside of us, teaching people or helping people break into tech, we are also in the data consulting field as well. Organizations outsource their projects to us for us to work on them for them. Now, with over 5 years of building talents for the technology workforce, we have, helped over 3,400 people. All right, people who look like myself and yourself transition, not just, from their previous job into the classroom, but from the classroom into their very first job in tech across the different regions. That is across the UK, across the US, Canada, Europe, Africa, as well as Asia. Now, here at Analytics, we are very committed to making the technology sector more accessible, all right, to everybody, anybody who is interested in tech. It doesn't matter what your background is, it doesn't matter where you're from, it doesn't matter what you look like. As long as you're interested in tech, we are, committed to making the technology sector more accessible to you. And how do we do this? We do this by offering premium experiential training and 10 wonderful, carefully curated programs. Now, these programs are data analytics, business analysis, data engineering, data science, financial analytics, HR analytics, agile project management, cybersecurity, product design, and finally, DevOps engineering. These are the 10 in-demand career paths that we offer. Now, we have a team of wonderful, wonderful instructors from leading global organizations like PwC, McKinsey, Microsoft, Amazon, as well as Apple. And these instructors bring a wealth of real world experience. All right. And they are very dedicated to delivering an engaging and practical learning experience that would ensure that you receive the maximum value from your investment with us in the future. Now, who's this person that has been speaking to you for the past 5 minutes? My name is Elizabeth Nana. Some of us on the call here know me. I am a product manager and a senior agile project manager as well as a clarity coach here at Analytics with half a decade of experience in product and project management. Some people will call me a skilled leader, but I am also a coach for agile teams, and I've been able to consistently drive impactful results across different organizations. Now, as a clarity coach, I help aspiring professionals such as yourself, such as the people on this session today, all right, gain direction, confidence, as well as the actionable steps that you need to transition into rewarding tech careers. Now, I've also personally trained over 1,000 professionals across 4 different continents, and my experience spans multiple sectors, including legal tech, health tech, fintech, that's the financial technology sector, as well as educational technology, where I have been able to apply my deep knowledge of agile methodologies to deliver value as well as transformation. Now, enough about that. What exactly are we doing here today? The first thing I'm going to walk you through is how to land your first work from home job, your first work from home tech job, because I believe that, adding the tech part is very important. I will be showing you how to land your very first work from home tech job with absolutely no experience, no background in tech whatsoever. And then I'll help you understand the technical and the employability skills you need to land you a job in 2026. And finally, I'll be talking about our upcoming cohorts, and I'll be sharing some success stories with you. Now, I understand that, for a lot of us on this call, breaking into tech feels very scary. It feels like, this mountain, and you don't even know where you want to start from. You don't even know how you want to surmount said mountain, right? There are a lot of myths out there. A lot of us on here, I'm sure, are thinking, age is no longer on my side. This is not the right time for me to get into tech. I mean, I've been hearing about tech for quite some time now, but I don't know where to start. I'm not a technical person. Oh, I'm a nurse. Oh, I was a teacher. I probably just got my secondary school living certificates. I don't have a degree. I currently work as a support worker. How can I break into tech? It can be very scary. That's the truth. And especially when you don't have any experience whatsoever and you don't have the right guidance, you don't have the right people to ask questions, it can be very scary. But I'm here to, just demystify the entire tech thing. We hear about tech a lot. What exactly is this tech that we keep hearing about? And then what are the in-demand, career paths that you can get into as an absolute beginner? Some of these career paths, would require some prerequisite knowledge, right? But that is not our focus for tonight. Tonight, we're looking at the in-demand career paths that you can get into with no experience, regardless of your background, as well as regardless of the sector you're looking into. Now, there's so many jobs, right? And these jobs are available for the take, whether you have a background in the sciences, whether you have a background in arts, whether you have a background in commerce, finance, or no background at all. It doesn't matter. Even if you're a farmer, these are career paths that are very much available and very much in high demand across the different regions. Now, before I jump right into it, I want to share some success stories with you. If you joined the session, at the very beginning, right before we kickstarted the actual session, you would have seen some testimonials, playing on the screen where you see people sharing their experience with Analytics. Now, I want to just also show you some people like yourself, people who had a background in medicine and how they were able to transition into tech, people with a background in the sciences. So very quickly, because like I said, we have helped over 3,400 professionals transition. So if I were to sit here today and share all their stories, we'll probably be here for another 12 hours. So I'm going to skim, through them very quickly. But I want to share the story of Evelyn with you. Now, Evelyn was a nurse and she had 15 solid years, of experience as a nurse. And Evelyn was able to transition from that, from bedside nursing into becoming a data engineer. Now, this session is going to be a very wonderful session. And I'm going to tell you this. This session is being recorded right now. If you'd like access to the recording of this session, maybe to share with people who could not make it, people who you think could benefit from this session, or even just to have a replay yourself, and you'd also love access to the slides that I'm using for this session, make sure to fill the link to the attendance form. My colleagues are dropping that link in the chat right now. All you have to do is click on that link and put in your details. That is the only way we will have your details, your email, to send the slides to you. All right, that is very important. If you do not fill the attendance form, you would not be able to get the recording of this session as well as the slides. Now, it's very imperative that you get the slides because I don't want you to take my word for it. All of these wonderful people, all these wonderful stories that I have on my slides are linked. So once you get the slides, you can actually click on a link to the video and actually watch what these people have to say about the experience with Analytics. You don't have to listen to just Elizabeth. When you can listen to Evelyn, you can listen to Dr. Arome, and you can listen to Tony, and just listen to Tony's story and how she transitioned from being a pharmacist when she was back home to Nigeria to being a data analyst in the UK. All right. So let's move on to people, with a background in the arts. We have Temi, who was a lawyer and was able to transition into business analysis in tech. We also have Osalbo, who was a sales personnel, and she also transitioned into becoming a business analyst. And then we have Ngozi, who transitioned from being a customer service representative to becoming a business analyst in the UK, working remotely for an organization in the US. All right. Now, we also have people who did not have any background. I mean, I've talked about the people with the background in the sciences. I've talked about the people with the background in the arts. There is also people that did not have any background whatsoever. People like Ikmat, for example. Ikmat was a full-time stay-at-home mom in the UK, and she was able to transition from that into a role in data analytics, a fully remote role in data analytics. Now, I want you to ask yourself this question. What exactly is it that you want for yourself? Are you looking to land a remote role, right? A role that will offer you more flexibility, more time to spend with your kids? Are you looking to land a role that would offer you visa sponsorship? Right? What exactly is it that you want? Why at this point do you want to take your time back? And I feel like I don't need to ask that question because I know the answer to it. As we grow older, a lot of us on here, or at least I will speak for myself, as we grow older, I have realized that I want to have more time for myself as well as my family. All right. And that is the same for a lot of us on this session today. You're probably working, long hours, you're working in care, you're working in whatever it is that you're currently doing right now, and you've decided that you want better for yourself. You don't want to have to work 6 days a week, have to catch the train early in the morning, come back late at night, when your kids are probably asleep. I don't have enough time to spend with them. Now, what exactly do you need to do in order to be able to land a job that would afford you that flexibility, more time for yourself, more time for your family, more time to spend on the things that truly matter? Okay, now just sit tight and stick with me till the end of the session. And remember, do not forget to fill the attendance form. Now, we have Ikmat, who moved from being a stay-at-home mom, like I said earlier, to being a data analyst in the UK. Now, across these different success stories that I shared, there was a three-pronged approach that we followed for every single one of them. Now, I will reiterate that here at 10Analytics, we've been able to help over 3,400 people transition. That's a lot of people. And for every single one of them that landed a job, their first high-paying job in tech, whether working fully from home or a hybrid role, meaning, they go to the office 2 days a week and then they work 3 days from home. For every single one of them, this was the approach that they followed. And it's pretty simple when you take a look at it. The first thing you want to do is you want to learn, right? You want to identify the in-demand career path that is, most significant to you, or the one that fits your personality the most, or fits your previous work experience or your educational background. So in as much as we feel like, oh, I don't have any background in tech, I'm sure you have a background in something. You could have been, maybe you were a lawyer, or you were an accountant, or you were an HR professional, and you're looking to transition into tech. Now, I'm going to tell you that, that background that you have in law, in nursing, in, pharmacy, whatever background it is you have, even in teaching or in operations, it's not going to go to waste. Now, we'll be able to, take a look at these 10 different career paths. I would be explaining them shortly, and then you'll be able to figure out where you fit in. So what I'm going to be doing very soon is every single one of them, I would explain what it entails and the kind of people that should be looking to get into every single one of these programs. So we have data analytics, we have data science, we have data engineering, we have business analysis, cybersecurity, financial analytics, agile project management, HR analytics, DevOps engineering, and finally product design. Now, for every single one of them, I will be breaking them down, and I want you to pay attention and listen attentively. So when I describe something that sounds like you or someone that sounds like you should be able to identify the best career path for yourself. That is how this session is going to go. So I'm going to be asking for a lot of interactions in the chat. All right. Now, the first thing you want to do, like I said earlier, is learn. You want to pick just one. Some people, they're caught between three right now because, oh, I heard that they are high paying. I heard that they are in demand. But you want to pick just one. Pick one in demand career path and immerse yourself in it. So whether it is data analytics, whether it is data science, whether it is cybersecurity, you want to pick just one and then learn everything that you need to know, everything there is to know about that program. Now, the next thing that you want to do is you want to package. Packaging is very important. You cannot overemphasize, the importance of packaging yourself very well. Packaging is what attracts people to you in the first place. There's this common quote that says, dress the way you want to be addressed, right? So let's talk about that for a second. When we talk about dressing the way you want to be addressed, it's not really about your dressing. It's really just about your packaging. You agree with me that sometimes when you're properly dressed, you look very good, you smell very nice, and you step into certain buildings, there's a sort of preferential treatment that is, accorded to you. And that is because of the beauty premium, right? But let's not delve that deep into that. What I just want to tell you is that in order for you to land a job, it is very important that you package yourself properly. You could be the most fantastic data analyst. You could be the best data scientist. You could be the best business analyst. You know your onions, all the tools. But if you don't package properly, if your CV is not ATS friendly, if your CV is not optimized, no one is going to look your way. So packaging yourself is just as important as, having the actual skills, the technical skills for that particular role. Now, when we talk about packaging, we talk about employability. And here at Analytics, we have 8 different employability services that we offer. So we're going to revamp your CV for you. And I'm going to be talking about this more, as time goes on. But we'll be revamping your CV for you to make sure that your CV is ATS friendly. Now, a lot of us on here, we're probably worried. You don't know how, you can optimize your CV. You don't know what to do, where to start from. You have a CV, quite all right. But deep down, that CV is not good enough. Now, not to worry, we're going to take that burden off your shoulders and we're going to work on your CV for you. But more than that, more than just working on your CV for you, we are also going to be teaching you how you can do it for yourself. So we are not just going to give you fish. We're also going to teach you how to fish. All right. Now we'll also be teaching you how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile. How do you strategically position yourself for success? How do you strategically position yourself to land high-paying remote jobs from the comfort of your home? Right? How do you position yourself so that people are attracted to you? Recruiters are reaching out to you. People are trying to headhunt you because they're impressed by what they see online. Now, your social media presence is very important. And, the importance of building in public cannot also be overemphasized. Now, all of these things are things we're going to teach you. How do you position yourself so that, you're going about your daily activities on a day-to-day and your phone buzzes, and when you check it, it's a direct message from a recruiter you have never heard of, a recruiter you don't know, someone telling you that they just stumbled across your profile and they're actually very interested, very intrigued by what they saw, very impressed, and they're saying, hi, we have an opening at our company right now, would like to have a conversation with you if you're interested. Now, in as much as you're out there job hunting, all right, they're also hunting for you, because I'm going to tell you this. Recruiters are always on the hunt for skilled professionals, all right? Now, They would not know that you are a skilled professional if the packaging does not attract them. Again, that is the importance of packaging yourself in order to land your dream job. Now, we're also going to be teaching you how to build your portfolio. Your portfolio is what serves as your proof of concept, right? That is your evidence. That is what shows that you actually have the skills. All right. Anybody can have a fantastic CV. I could sit down right now and in 1 hour, I would craft a wonderfully compelling CV for my 5-year-old niece. Anybody could have a compelling CV. But how do you then stand apart? All right. How do you prove to people? How do you prove to headhunters? How do you prove to recruiters that you actually know what you're saying? That you can defend your CV. That is where your portfolio comes in. So we'll be teaching you how you can build a portfolio and then, of course, how you can house projects on your portfolio, because that is what is going to also serve as your experience in that field. I'm going to be talking about that shortly. Just, walk with me. We also offer weekly mentorship sessions. All right. Every single week, you get to speak to, mentors, you get to speak to industry experts, you get to learn one or two things from them. How do you navigate the job market? How do you answer interview questions? What are the things that you should look out for? We also bring, recruiters from global organizations to come back to the classroom, speak to you and tell you what it is that they look out for when they put out a job opening and, CVs start rolling in. What exactly do they look out for? What are those keywords in these different industries that they look out for? So you are actually going to be learning at the feet of people who have done exactly what you're trying to do, people who have a wealth of experience that they can share with you so that you are not just left on your own trying to navigate your career and your journey all alone. All right. Now, we also offer interview preparatory sessions. Every single time you land an interview, there's always someone at Analytics waiting to prep you for that interview. So what that means is if you land an interview 100 times, you have someone ready to prep you 200 times. All right. Someone who is going to sit you down and say, hey, based off of this interview from this company that you've gotten up by me, these are some of the likely questions that you would get. Now, if you are asked this question, this is how you should answer it. This is the framework that you should use in answering the questions. This is what you should say. This is the project you should talk about. Oh, Amarachi, this organization, these are some of the likely questions that you'll probably get in the interview. And then when you are asked this question, even if they're trying to throw a trick question at you, this is how you should answer it. These are the frameworks that you should use to guide you so that you're not too nervous in the interview. All right. You have someone on standby at all times, ready to take you on that and make sure that you are prepped for that interview. So by the time you go into the actual interview with the organization, you are at least 70% ready. All right. And then the remaining 30% is something that you can just use, your confidence and then your project and your portfolio to talk about. So we're going to be prepping you for interviews. And then, of course, we provide job reference or recommendation letters. So should you need a reference letter anytime to land a job, feel free to put down our name and we'll provide one for you. Now, outside of that, we also provide on-the-job support. You land the job, okay? Your first month on the job, you get some tasks that you really don't know how to execute. You don't know how to go about those tasks. Rest assured, we always have someone at Analytics on standby for you as well. All you have to do is come back to us, reach out and say, hey, I got this task on my job. And we'll have a one-on-one with you where we provide guidance on how you can execute that task. Now, that is the second thing, packaging yourself. The third and final thing you want to do is you want to apply like a machine, but with precision. You want to be very strategic with your job application process. I tell people every day, job application is a numbers game, all right? It's a numbers game. What that means is you are not applying to one job and just sitting down and folding your arms and waiting for them to get back to you. It doesn't work that way. You actually need to apply to multiple jobs, all right, to be able to get callbacks. But in as much as you have to apply to multiple jobs, you also don't want to make sure you're not using one CV to apply to 1,000 jobs and praying for a miracle. Because again, it doesn't work that way. Earlier, I talked about the ATS, which is the applicant tracking system. And this is something that recruiters use. So every single job listing you see out there, right? You see a job listing, a job posting, there is most likely an ATS behind the scenes. Now, the ATS is AI, really, and it's programmed by these recruiters to look out for specific things on resumes or CVs. So there are keywords for every job, every single job in every industry that you see online, right? There are specific keywords that they're looking out for. So what that means is the recruiter that is putting out the job opening or the job posting has programmed the ATS to look out for specific words. So maybe the recruiter tells the ATS, look out for words like employability, look out for words like package, look out for words like learn, and look out for words like apply on this CV. So if you see any CV that doesn't have any of these four words, fling it out. That's what it means. Now, of course, these are keywords that you would not be aware of. And then you're just using one CV to apply to all these jobs. And then you're asking yourself why you have not landed a job yet. Oh, you'll be telling people you've been searching for a job. You've been applying to remote jobs for the past 1 year and you've not gotten a job yet. There is a problem with your CV. Okay, so now, like I said earlier, we'll revamp your CV for you, but then we'll also teach you how you can tailor your CV to fit each job application. Every single application you want to put out, you're tailoring your CV and adding keywords that are very specific to that job application so that your CV can at least scale past the applicant tracking system. A lot of times when we apply to jobs, it doesn't get to the desk of the recruiter. No human being gets to see your CV. That's the bitter truth. A lot of times, right? A lot of times when we get the automated, we regret to inform you. No human being saw your CV. The ATS flung your CV out within 30 seconds after you applied. So as you click the submit button, submit job application, in 30 seconds, the ATS is throwing your CV in the bin. That is the bitter truth. And then you get, the automated rejection email. So how do we get your foot in the door in the first place? How do we even make sure that, yes, you're a fantastic data analyst, you're a fantastic business analyst, but how do we make sure that your CV, right, actually gets to the desk of a recruiter? You want to be very strategic. So you want to make sure that you're sending in at least 10 quality applications per day, right? You're applying to at least 10 jobs per day, quality applications. And then you're also tapping into paid and hidden job markets. A lot of us on here were familiar with Glassdoor, we're familiar with LinkedIn, Indeed, and so on and so forth. Those are the free job boards. Now, what if I told you that the premium jobs, the premium remote jobs, the premium jobs, fully remote jobs that offer visa sponsorship, all right, and flexible work hours, and not on these paid platforms, and not on these free platforms, pardon, right? Now, does that mean that Elizabeth is saying that you should go out there and go and start, paying for different job boards so that you can get access? No. Matter of fact, you don't want to do that at all because we're doing that for you already. Now, every single month, 10Analytics pays a lot of money, okay? A lot of money. I take pride in saying that. Every single month, 10Analytics pays a lot of money in order to get access to premium jobs that are not available on free job sites. Now, what we do once we get access is that on a weekly basis, we go on these premium job boards where we are subscribing to on a monthly basis, and then we scrape them for job openings, for job postings, and then we send them to you and say, Amarachi, here you go. Go ahead to apply. All right. We say, Opeyemi, here you go. Go ahead to apply. So in as much as you're out there looking for jobs, you're out there applying to jobs on LinkedIn and so on and so forth, we would also be sending you links to premium jobs that you can, apply to as well. Now, if you can follow this approach, just like over 3,000 people have done before you, that is how you would be able to land your dream role working from home. And it's a job that would pay you a lot of money. Now, just to make sure that I have people listening to me, I want you to put, I want you to put the letter A in the chat, just the letter A. That's how I know that I have people listening to me. Thank you, iPhone. You almost did not let me finish. Okay, I see a lot of people. Now, make sure, as you're putting in the letter A, make sure that you fill the attendance form. Again, in order for you to get access to the recording of this session, as well as the slides, make sure you fill it. We're 30 minutes in. We're still getting to, the juicy part of the session. So you want to make sure that you are not missing it at all. All right, fantastic. Now let's keep pushing. A few more success stories again, because again, I like to brag. We're doing a wonderful thing here at 10 Analytics. We're helping a lot of people. And I have to tell the good news. I have to just say it. Now, we've been able to help a lot of people. I've said that multiple times on this session, but I'm also going to highlight a few more stories as well. Let's talk about Judith. All right, Judith was someone who had a background in HR when she was in Nigeria. All right, and then when she moved to the UK, she started working as a carer while also studying. Now, I want you to pay very close attention, because the same approach I just explained, learn, package, and apply, is what all of these people followed. Judith knew that she wanted more for herself. If you have worked as a carer, you understand what Judith was facing, right? The long work hours, not having enough time for her children and her spouse, not even having enough time for herself. Because again, it's a very arduous job, right? You are stressed, and as you get older, it's very time consuming, and it takes a lot from us as well. So Judith knew that she wanted more for herself. The first thing Judith did was she learned. She identified one of the in-demand career paths, and then she joined that program. So Judith joined the 10 Analytics business analysis program, and she completed that program in March of 2024. Now, while she was, taking the program, she was also packaging herself. Now, we worked on Judith's CV, but she also learned how to tailor a CV to fit multiple roles. Judith was joining all the mentorship sessions. She never missed a single one of them. All right. And she got prepped for multiple interviews. Now, again, it's not magic. Some people, they're able to land jobs on their very first try. We prep them for one interview and boom, they're in. Sometimes it will take 2 to 3 tries, right? For Judith, we prepped her. She had multiple interviews. She was applying to multiple jobs and she was getting callbacks. And for every single interview, we prepped her for it. Now, one thing Judith did that was fantastic, she applied to multiple jobs. Like I said, it's a numbers game. Judith did not just apply to one or two jobs and, was sitting back waiting for a response. She applied to multiple jobs, both in the UK as well as in the US. Now, this is because Judith knew what she wanted. She knew that she wanted a work from home job. Scratch that. A work from anywhere job. All right, meaning that today Judith can decide that she wants to go and visit her family in Canada, and she can pack up her devices and go and visit her family in Canada, and it doesn't affect her work at all. She knew that that was what she wanted. So she applied to multiple jobs, both in the UK as well as in the US, from the 10 Analytics job board, from the jobs that we provided to her, from the premium jobs that we sent our participants. And she made sure that she tailored every single application so that it would scale past the applicant tracking system. Now, remember that Judith completed the program in March. By July, that was 3 months after completing the program, Judith landed a job as a business analyst in the US. So she was working for an organization in the US, but she was working from the UK, fully remote. And this was a job that also came with sponsorship. She got the job less than 4 months, basically 3 months after completing the program. Now, let's drill down into this approach. The first one is learn, right? You want to get crystal clear on the target roles, the roles that you should be targeting, because you're not supposed to target all the roles. But we've done the work for you. We've done the grunt work for you. We've helped you identify the roles that you should be targeting. Now, these are career paths that offer real security and that will land you a job very, very fast in 2026. All right. Now, in order for us to arrive at these 10 programs, I said it earlier, these are carefully curated programs. And, there was a reason for that. These are very strategic programs that we offer. We had to carry out a lot of analysis. The first thing we did was we carried out a job board analysis. Now, what this means was we went on all the different job boards year on year. This is what we do, right? So at the end of every year, like for example, the end of 2025, we went on all the different job boards, and then we looked at the jobs that had the highest occurring listings. So I'm going to give you a look at LinkedIn. And then move 25 to December 2025, we have about 100,000 job postings for the role of a data analyst. in the UK. Now, what that signifies is that data analytics is a high demand, career path in the UK. It's something that is highly sought after. If they put out 100,000 job postings for that particular job in 1 year, then, that is a career path that is booming. All right. So we did that for all the different job boards. So many job boards. You can imagine the amount of work that went into this, scraping all these different job boards and carrying out an analysis on these jobs. Now, we didn't just look for jobs that are in demand. We also look for jobs that will be easy to learn. Again, for people like yourself and myself, we have probably been out of the classroom for a very long time. We have families that we're taking care of. Some of us on here were chasing, higher degrees, masters, PhD, and so on and so forth, while working, right, to put food on the table. You don't have much time. And our brains, at least my brain, is not what it used to be when I was, in high school and when I was in college. It's much different now. So in as much as we were looking for the jobs that are in demand, high in demand, we also looked for the jobs that are easy. All right. The jobs that you can get into with absolutely no background. Now, we did not stop at the job board analysis. We also decided to look at it from a global lens. So it's not just tailored to one region. It's all around the world. And what we did was we said, how about we step outside of Tenalytics and we find a reputable body and see what they have to say about the jobs or the careers that are in demand. And then we found the World Economic Forum. We took a look at the Future of Jobs report for 2026. And I also have this report linked on my slide as well. So if you'd like to take a look at the report, make sure to fill the attendance form. Now, when we took a look at the World Economic Forum, they also highlighted jobs that are purported to increase in the coming years. All right. Because according to the World Economic Forum, by 2030, about 170 million jobs would have been created. These are not my words. You don't have to take my word for it. All right. Just make sure to fill the attendance form. Once you get the slides, I have everything linked on my slides. You can take your time and go through the report yourself. Now, they highlighted the jobs that are in demand and the jobs that are declining. And what we found was these 10 jobs or these 10 career paths that you can see on my screen. We didn't stop there. We also decided to carry out regional analysis. Now, what that means is we took a look at the different regions to make sure that these 10 programs can stand the test of time. Now, number one, they're jobs that are secure and safe. So they're future-proof. And what that means is they're sustainable. Okay. So in the next 5 to 10 years, you don't have to worry about AI coming to take over your job. These are jobs that are safe. These are jobs that are only going to grow. So you're not going to learn a new skill today and then by next year you're out of a job. No. Which is why I said you don't just want to apply anyhow. You want to make sure that you're targeting one of these 10 programs that you can see on my screen. We carried out a regional analysis to make sure that this, actually stands true across the different regions. For example, in the UK, right, these are eligible occupations for the skilled worker visa. Now, this is for people who are looking to get visas, right? You want to get a job that would offer you visa sponsorship. Now, these are eligible occupations for that. In the US, we also made sure that these job titles are job titles with the highest H-1B acceptance rates. We also carried out our analysis in Canada as well. We took a look at the provincial nominee programs, and so on and so forth. And that was how we're able to, arrive at this 10 programs that we offer: business analysis, data analytics, data science, data engineering, agile project management, cybersecurity, HR analytics, financial analytics, DevOps engineering, and product design. All right. Now, when you're learning, you don't just want to learn using, maybe free resources, out there, go on YouTube and so on and so forth. Yeah, there are wonderful resources everywhere, but you want to make sure that you're learning the right way, because it's one thing to learn and it's another thing to learn the right way. Now, what does it mean to learn the right way? You have guidance, you have hand-holding at every single point. Right from the point where you start a training with Tenalytics till you land your first job, you literally have somebody holding your hand. All right. Now, we have a blended learning approach here at 10 Analytics where you have live sessions, just like this one, live classes, all right? But there's a difference because now you're able to raise up your hand and say, hi, Elizabeth, I don't understand what you just said. Please, can you go back? You have live sessions, and then you also have, self-paced learning materials because again, we understand that you're probably working long hours and we don't want to overwhelm you with too many classes. So we'll also have pre-recorded videos made available to you on a weekly basis. Now, these are videos you can watch at your own time and at your own pace, whenever you want. On your way to work, you're on the train and you just plug in, put in your earphones, and then you're listening and watching these videos. So you have these made available to you. You're able to learn at your convenience, anytime, anywhere. And then you're also able to learn in class with the instructors that I talked about, at the beginning of the session. You can ask questions, you can get feedback in real time. Like it's a two-way conversation. All right. Now, I also went ahead. I'm not going to, drill down on this too much, but this is another reason why you need to fill the attendance form because there's so many wonderful resources on the slide. I went ahead to attach the average for each of these, career paths, the average compensation. You're able to take a look at the comp for business analysts in the UK, the average. Now, when we talk about average, what that means is, I'm not saying that's the absolute. You'll still find organizations that will offer more than that, but at least you have a baseline. You know what the baseline would look like. You can see the average for business analysts in the UK, in Canada, as well as in the US. You can see the average for project managers in the UK, as well as in Canada and the US. All right. All the different programs have gone ahead to attach the average across the different regions. So whatever role it is you're targeting, you also know the compensation. You also know the salary that you're targeting as well. All right. Now, the next thing we want to drill down on is number 2, packaging. How do you craft a magnetic job-ready profile for yourself? Okay. Now, before you start packaging, there's something that is very important and very worthy of note, actually. And it's for you to remember, always remember, whatever you do, always remember that it will always be competence over credentials. It will always, always be competence over credentials. What do I mean? I don't want you to fall into the pit of chasing certifications. You see a lot of people on here. You've probably spoken to 1 or 2 people and they've told you, oh, you need certificates, you need certificates. And then you feel like that is what you need to do in order to land a job. All right. That is a sham. That is a misconception. That is a myth. And that is why I'm here today to demystify the entire thing. Now, the era of certification is over. Nobody, I'll say it again, nobody really cares anymore about your certificates. What they want to see is your skills and your experience. I went ahead to attach this very interesting screenshot. It was from the 15th of January, 2025, but it was something that it's something I love to talk about when I speak to, people who are trying to break into tech. And it's tweets from Elon, right? On X, formerly known as Twitter. And Elon said, if you're a hardcore software engineer and you want to build the Everything app with us, please join us by sending your best work to code@x.com. Now, let me break that down for you. When Elon said sending your best work, what he meant was sending us a portfolio. Now, he did not ask for your certificates. He did not ask for your degree. He said, send us your portfolio to this email address. Then he goes further to say, we don't care where you went to school or whether you went to school at all. Elon doesn't care whether you went to an Ivy League university, whether you went to Harvard, whether you went to Yale, whether you went to Brown. Okay? It doesn't care. What he wants to see is your portfolio. He says he doesn't even care if you have worked at a big name company before. Don't come and say, oh, I used to work at this company. I don't care about that. I just want to see your portfolio. Just show us your code. Now, what this is telling you, Elon is one of the richest men in the world. Again, so don't take my word for it. What this is telling you is that we are at the era right now where organizations want to see proof of concepts. Is your certificate a nice to have? Yes, it is. But if you have the fancy certificates, right, and you don't have a portfolio, you don't have the skills, you don't have evidence of the skills to show for it, you are not landing a job. You're not landing a remote job. And that's just the truth. Now, I'm going to talk about the story of Hope. Hope was someone who thought that she needed to have a fancy certificate to land a job. And she got a fancy certificate. She made sure she got the project management and Scrum Master certification. But month after month, Hope was applying to jobs. She wasn't getting callbacks. She wasn't able to land a job in Canada. Now, what did Hope do? She joined our project management program in September. And 3 months into the program, she landed a job. She joined in September. She landed a job in December. Now, you might be wondering, what was it that Hope did differently? Because she already had the fancy certificates. She had been applying to jobs for months. So what was the difference? What stood out when she started taking the 10 Analytics program? What was hindering Hope from landing a job, even with a certificate before, was that she didn't have a portfolio. Of course, in order for you to have a portfolio, you have to have projects that you house in that portfolio. Now, that is where 10 Analytics comes in. Because while you're with us, you get to work on projects, right? A variety of different types of projects that you can then house on your portfolio and show recruiters, hey, this is proof that I know what I'm saying. This is what I can use to defend my CV and defend the years of experience that I said that I have. Now, that was what Hope needed, and that was what helped her land a job. So again, do not fall into the trap of just chasing certificates, because if you don't have the skill or proof of the skill, you are not going to land a job. Now, in order for you to craft a magnetic job ready profile, you need to package yourself properly, which is what I talked about earlier. You need to build a portfolio. Now, you can also see some sample portfolios from some of our past participants who have been able to use these portfolios to land jobs. Okay? You can see them linked on my slides. Once you get the slides, just take your time to go over them. And then, of course, like I said earlier, we're revamping your CV for you. We'll teach you how to optimize your LinkedIn profile. We'll have sessions with you on how you can navigate the job markets in an unfamiliar terrain when you just moved to a new country, or you're trying to break into tech and you have absolutely no background in tech. How do you navigate the job market? How, we prep you for interviews as well. How do you answer interview questions? Every single time you have an interview, you can reach out to us and we'll prep you for that interview. We also offer recommendation letters for you to secure your job, okay? On the job support, like I mentioned earlier, weekly mentorship sessions, and then Upwork optimization sessions for people who are interested in, freelancing. Now, what is the third thing? Apply like a machine, but with precision. All right. Never reuse a CV when you're applying to jobs. Like I said, we do not just work on your CV for you. We are also going to teach you how you can tailor your CV to fit multiple job roles. So you don't have to use the same CV for 1,000 jobs. Then we also send you links to premium jobs that you can apply to. I have a snapshot on here. You're able to see, what it looks like. One of the snapshots from one of our classrooms here at 10 Analytics. And you can see the job title, you see the name of the company, you see the job location, if the job offers sponsorship or not, if the job is remote or not, and then the link to the job. So we prepare this tracker and then we share it with you. Imagine every week you're getting over 100 premium jobs to apply to. We just prepare everything, we put in the location, and then we send it to you so that when you're applying, you're able to be very strategic with your application. You have all the information that you need. If you know that you are looking for a visa sponsorship, you're able to select the jobs that are offering visa sponsorship, or the organizations that are offering to sponsor you, so you can apply to them. So you're not just applying blindly. Like I said, we're doing half of the work for you. All you have to do is apply. We also have, recordings of mentorship sessions that we have. Every single session here at 10 Analytics, every single thing that requires you to join a meeting at 10 Analytics, they're always recorded. So you have lifetime access to the recordings of this session. Once again, don't forget to fill the attendance form. And if you have any questions for me so far, feel free to go ahead and put your questions in the chat right after the session. If you stick around, I will be doing a little bit of Q&A, question and answer looking at your questions and answering them. So in order for us not to waste too much time, I still have so much, a lot more success stories to share, but we're going to just move past them. Okay. Once you get the slide, you are able to go through it. Now, look at Rita. Rita was able to secure a tier 2 skilled worker visa using the strategy that I just mentioned. All right. So again, this is something that has worked for over 3,000 people. So how do we get it to work for you? That's why we're here today. So many success stories. But now let's get to the juicy part of the session. What are the skills that you must have today to land you a work from home job in 2026? Now, if you have been sleeping, right? If you probably just muted me, since the beginning of this session, this is the part where you want to start paying attention. Now, for me to just know that I have people listening to me, I see Oreolua. Hi, Ore. Welcome to the session. So in order for me to know that I have people listening to me, put an emoji in the chats. We have just gotten to the interesting part of the session. Put an emoji in the chats. Thank you, Timmy. Thank you, Isaac. Thank you, Temi Tokwe. Anyone else? Tolu Lokwe, Ulunike. Okay, fantastic. So I have a lot of people on here. Now, this is the interesting part. What I'm going to be doing here is I'm going to be breaking down each career path, and then I'll explain the type of people that should go into each of them. So after every career path, I'm going to be asking you questions in the chat so I know if you've been able to identify where you fall. Now, we'll start with the project management, career path. We have business analysis and then we have project management, and they're two very similar career paths. I'm sure a lot of people, some people that I've heard about the both of them are probably wondering what the difference is. I'm going to be explaining that, and I'll start with the project management program. Now, project management, I'm very proud to say that this is this is the simplest programs, the simplest program that we offer here at Analytics. Absolutely simple. Whether you have a background in tech or you don't have a background in tech, or you're not tech savvy, you don't really know how to, you're not technical, you don't know how to maybe really use a laptop, it doesn't matter. Project management is very simple. Now, what is your job as a project manager? As a project manager, you have a project team that you manage. All right? You have a team that you manage. There is a team that is put together to work on that project, whatever project it is you're working on. And your job is to make sure that those people on the team are doing their jobs. So what it means is that you as the project manager, you're not going to be doing anything technical. You're not going to be writing code. You're not going to be designing. You're not going to be doing anything too technical. What you just have to do is that you have to make sure that the designers and the developers on your team are doing their jobs and they're doing it well. Now, you want to make sure that your project team always delivers every single project within the 3 most important parameters of project management. What are these 3 important parameters? You have your time. Every single project has a time frame or a timeline. A project always has a start and an end date, all right? Every single project has a time frame. It could be 2 years. It could be 12 months. It could be 18 months. It could be 5 months, 2 months. There's always a timeline, and you want to make sure that your team is able to deliver on that project within the said timeline. The next thing is the budget. Every project has a budget. You can have a project that is awarded £500,000, a project that has a budget of $1 million, a project that has a budget of £100,000. You want to make sure that your team doesn't overspend on that project. You want to make sure that they're able to keep their spending within the confines of the budget. So if the budget is £100,000, we are not spending more than £100,000. That's what it means. And finally, of course, the scope. Basically, what the scope means is the boundaries of work of the project. So basically saying that you want to make sure that by the time you deliver the project, you're actually delivering what you were asked to do in the first place. That is your job as a project manager, high level. Now, every single person on this call today has handled a project, one type of project or the other. There are different types of projects, a construction project, an event. It could be a birthday party. It could be an anniversary dinner. Maybe you planned a birthday party for your parents, and you were the one there doing the planning from the get-go, inviting people and so on and so forth. That's an example of a project. Now, that's why I said this is the simplest one. Now, who are the people that should be looking at project management? The people that should be looking at project management are people who are comfortable leading other people. People who are comfortable. So I see Oreolua, you have a question for me. Not to worry. Once I'm done with the session, I will. Okay. All right. I knew that name sounded familiar. So once I'm done with the session, I will make sure to answer your question as well. All right. The people who are going for project management or who should feel very comfortable leading people. If you're comfortable in meetings, because you're going to be following up with different stakeholders. So basically, you have to be an extrovert. Now, when I say an extrovert, you can do it from the comfort of your home, all right? Can do it remotely. I'm a project manager. I work from anywhere. I could be in China tomorrow and it doesn't stop my work. I just have to go with my laptop, all right? So you can do it from anywhere, but you have to be comfortable speaking to people, leading teams, following up, deadlines, and all of that. All right. So if after everything I just said now, if you're interested in project management, I want you to put a PM in the chat. Put PM in the chat. PM in the chat if you're interested in project management. Thank you, Christabel. Any other person? So just Christabel? Boomy, PM. Fantastic, fantastic, fun stuff. So look where, okay, I see the response is rolling in now. So yes, if you are interested in project management, if what I just described sounds like you, then project management would be the one for you. Now let's explain the business analysis program. So when we talk about the simple programs here at Analytics, like I said, project management is the first one. That's the simplest. Now, the second one on the list is business analysis. Now, a business analyst is a process person. What that means is, as a business analyst, you walk into every organization and you look around, you take a look at that organization, and you're looking at how you can optimize the processes, how you can make how things are working in that organization work better. So this is going to be a long one. Now, let me just give a little analogy just to also explain the role of a business analyst properly. And I will use the banking sector in Nigeria to explain this. All right. We'll take it way back because I'm sure things are better now in Nigeria, but way back in the 90s, the banking sector, well, of course, it was early days, so we can't fault it, but we didn't have ATMs, automated teller machines where you can just withdraw money. We didn't have that in the 90s. We got the first ATM in Nigeria in 1992. And even when we got the first ATM, okay, it wasn't the most accessible. So what that meant was every single thing that people had to do with their money, they had to physically go into the bank to do it. People who were in Nigeria in the 90s can, they can relate. You have to physically go into the bank to do it. It doesn't matter how little that amount is or how much it is. You have to go into the bank to, do whatever it is that you need to do with your money. Now, the process used to be you get to the bank, right? And then you join a long queue. That's the first thing you do at the bank. You just get to the bank, you walk in, and then you stand on a queue for maybe 2 hours or more. I remember back then, my mother would wake up very early. Now, banks in Nigeria used to open or start operations for the day around 8 a.m. I don't know if it's different now, but it used to be 8 a.m. And then my mother would wake up around, my mother would wake up around 6 a.m. and she's already getting ready to go to the bank. She'd prefer to get to the gates, and just wait around for the banks to resume operations for the day. Now, this is because she was trying to beat the queue. Because some people will go to the banks and then they stay on that queue for hours and then they have to go back home. They were not even able to carry out that transaction that day and come back the next day. So the process was you join a queue, you walk into that bank, join a queue, you stay on that queue for maybe 3 hours. And then when it's your turn, they start to ask you a series of questions. Who do you want to send money to? Who is this person to you? How much is it? What bank? They start to ask you all these questions. Now, once they ask you the questions and, you answer it to their satisfaction, they hand you a slip. They give you a slip and they ask you to fill that slip. Now you have to leave the queue. You don't fill the slip on the queue. So you leave the queue and you go and look for somewhere to sit and you fill the slip. And after filling the slip, you have to join another long queue to carry out your transaction. That was the process. Now, the business analyst walked into this organization. This organization in this context is the banking sector. And the business analyst realized just how flawed this entire process was. It doesn't make any sense. Why are we asking people to stay on a queue for hours just to get a blank form? Is there no better way we can give people this form? And then they were like, oh no, there are different types of forms. So we have to ask them questions. And then depending on the response to the question, we give them the form that they need. And the business analyst said, no, there's a better way to do that. How about we get a security personnel that stands at the door? All right. And then once anyone walks into the bank, we also have different tables or counters strategically positioned around the banking lobby. Now we have different forms, different types of forms on these tables. Now, once a customer walks into the bank, the security personnel greets them. Good morning, Okweyemi. How may we help you today? And then Okweyemi says, I would like to make a deposit. And the security personnel says, do you see that table, that red table in the middle? Yes, that one. Please go to that table, pick up a form on that table or pick up a slip and fill it. Or, Amarachi comes in and the security personnel says, good morning, Amarachi. How may we help you today? And Amarachi says, I'd like to make a transfer. And security personnel says, do you see that yellow table by the far left? Please walk up to that table. There are some forms on that table. Just take one of them and fill it. Now, what has just happened was the same form that you probably have to spend 3 hours on a queue to get. You are able to get it within 2 to 3 minutes. Now, what the business analyst just did was they optimized the process. They made the process better. So you don't have to waste too much time on a queue just to get that form. That is the job of a business analyst. You look at how things are working in that organization and you come up with innovative ideas. All right. How can you make it better? If this process was making us 500,000 pounds before, how can I come up with a different process or a better process that will make us 1 million or 750,000 pounds? That is the job of a business analyst. Now, the 10 Analytics Business Analysis Program is a powerhouse. All right. And I say this because it's a combination of 3 programs. It's 3 for the price of 1. You have your core business analysis, right? Then you get to learn data analytics as well. We went into the data analytics program and we borrowed these 3 power tools from them. So you learn how to use Excel from beginner to professional, the way a data analyst would use Excel. You learn how to use Power BI, the way a data analyst would use Power BI. You learn how to use SQL, which is the language of data. How do you speak to data? How do you speak the language of data? You learn how to speak that language just the way a data analyst would speak that language. Now, it doesn't stop there. We also borrowed some things from project management as well. So we are going to teach you how to also think like a project manager. How do you initiate projects? How do you plan projects? How do you execute projects? How do you monitor projects? How do you close projects like a project manager? So what that means for you is that upon completion of this particular business analysis program, you're able to land a job as a project manager if you want. You're able to land some jobs, in data analytics if you want. And you're also able to land a job as a business analyst. So like I said, 3 for the price of 1. Now, if what I just described, sounds like you, because for business analysis, you also have to be an extrovert. You have to be comfortable leading meetings, presentations, following up with different stakeholders, constant communication. If you are not an extrovert, if you don't like meetings, business analysis is not for you. Project management is not for you. If you don't like meetings, I have something for you, but it is not business analysis. But if you feel like you are okay with, multiple meetings, meetings here and there, speaking to people, following up with different people, liaising with different stakeholders, I want you to put a BA in the chat. BA. Thank you, Onyinye. You almost did not wait for me to finish. Any other person? Awa says BA as well. Fantastic. Any other person? Henrietta BA, Isaac BA. Fantastic. Now, you know what is happening here today? Very powerful. Some people came in here, no background in tech, no knowledge whatsoever. You don't even know where you want to, where you fall in, but you can already see a specific set of people. Some people have identified that they want to become project managers. Some people have identified they want to become business analysts. So just stick with me, okay? We have 8 more programs to go. I'm going to be explaining each and every one of them one by one. Now let's go to the data roles. Now, if you're on this session today, you don't like meetings, you're an introvert, all right? You're an introvert, you don't like meetings. Even if you join meetings, you prefer not to really speak. You just want to do your work in the background and maybe prepare a report and share that report, right? You want to do your work in the background. You don't really like meetings. You don't really like speaking to people. Communication is not your strong suit, okay? Then you have to pick one of these data roles. And I'm going to explain the 3 of them so that you're able to also identify which one would be best for you. We'll start with the data analytics program or the data analytics career path. Now, these 3 programs, you can see all 3 of them on my screen. They're related. They're sisters, okay? They're sisters. The data analyst is the youngest sister. That's the last born of the family. Very, very simple. If you're an absolute beginner, you don't want anything that is going to stress you. You don't want anything that is technical, and you're an introvert. You like to work in the background, right? You want to go for data analytics. Data analytics is very simple. All right, top 3 simplest programs we have here at Analytics. What is the job of a data analyst? A data analyst, regardless of the sector, because you can work in oil and gas, you can work in construction, you can work in healthcare, you can work in, any sector, the finance sector. Regardless of the sector, you answer 2 questions and 2 questions only. What happened and why did this happen? Those are the 2 questions you answer as a data analyst. What happened and why did this happen? And you answer these 2 questions by looking at what we call historical data, meaning data of things that have happened. What happened this morning? What happened last week? What happened last month? What happened last year? What happened 10 years ago? Now, this data is always available. Every organization on the face of this earth has data, but they don't know how to make sense of the data. So data is readily available. They just need somebody that understands the language of data to help them interpret that data. So what that means for you is that you are not going to look for data anywhere. The data is available. You are in your house, in your work from home job, right? You're at your desk. Your kids are crying in the background, and you're just analyzing your data and you're preparing a report. That is your job as a data analyst. Now you answer 2 questions. What happened and why did this happen? And you answer these 2 questions by carrying out what we call descriptive analysis for what happened, and then diagnostic analysis for why it happened. So let's give a little analogy here, just like I did for business analysis. Say you currently work at an organization right now, and this is December 2025. We're currently in December 2025. Bear with me. And this organization that you are working at, they are getting ready to wrap up operations for the year. It's December, so we're going to close very soon, and we are planning ahead for January. We're planning ahead for 2026. And then this organization finds out that, they take a look at their books and they find out that they made $1 million in revenue. From January of 2025 till December 2025, they made $1 million in profits. That's a lot of money. All right. But after the initial jubilation, for every forward-thinking organization, they start to think of how they can do better by next year. So we made $1 million in 2025. How can we make $2 million or $3 million in 2026? So they start to plan ahead. Now, in order for them to plan ahead, they need to understand the data. And that is where the data analyst comes in. All right. So they come to, let me pick somebody that's going to be our data analyst for today. They go to Adeola Adekunle and they say, Adeola is our data analyst. And they say, Adeola, we have some questions. So we've taken a look at the books and found out that we made $1 million this year, right? But we need to understand, where did this money even come from? What are the things that we are doing because we're trying to double this money by next year. So how can we do that? Now, remember, Adeola is the data analyst, and every data analyst answers 2 questions. What happened and why it happened? Fantastic. Now, the first thing Adeola does is she carries out a descriptive analysis in order to find out what happened. So when she carries out the first analysis, she's able to break down that number $1 million, right? Was it $1 million now? $1 million. She's able to break down that $1 million according to the different regions that that money came from. So she's able to see that $500,000 out of the $1 million, $500,000 came from the Canadian markets alone. $200,000 came from the US markets alone. $100,000 came from the UK market alone, and so on and so forth. She's able to break it down that way. That is exactly what happened. If she prepares a report and shares it with leadership, they're able to see exactly where the money came from. Oh, we made $500,000 from Canada. We made $100,000 from UK, and so on and so forth. But that is not the end. The second thing Adiola wants to do is she wants to understand the behavior. Because imagine making $500,000 from one region, and then in the second region, you only made 100,000. Why? The gap is a lot. So she wants to carry out the second type of analysis to answer the second question. Why did this happen? She already knows what happened, but she wants to know why it happened. And then when she does that, she finds out that the revenue that is gotten from each region is tied to the marketing spend for that region. Meaning that the money that was spent on marketing, influencers, billboards, adverts, and so on and so forth, directly impacted the revenue that was gotten. So Adiola takes a look at, the data, and then she's able to see that in Canada, from January till December, we're doing a lot of adverts. We had our brand, our company on billboards. We had our companies on like moving buses, on the metro, on the train, and so on and so forth, at the metro stations. She's able to see that we spent so much money. We spent like 50% of our marketing budgets on the Canadian market. And that's why we made so much money from there. And then when she takes a look at the UK, when we only made $100,000, she then finds out that we only spent about 8% of our marketing budget in the UK. People don't even know that we exist in the UK. There is a potential market. We stand to make so much money from the UK as a company, but people don't even know that we exist. Now, what Adiola has just done is that she has solved the problem that the organization did not even know that they had. One region was getting 50%, another region was getting 8%. And she's able to tell them, look, guys, she goes to leadership and says, look, there is so much money that we are leaving on the table in the UK as well as in the US because we're just directing all our energy to Canada. How about we split it? Because if we split it, that's how we'll be able to make $500,000 from Canada, $500,000 from the US, and $500,000 from the UK in 2026. Adiola, using the data, has just helped the organization understand exactly what is going on and how they can make more money for themselves in the future. So whatever decision that management takes, because the decision is not up to Adiola, she has done her part. She has worked on it and she has prepared a report and she has submitted that report. Now, leadership takes a look at that report and then they make an informed decision. And whatever decision it is that they make is backed by data. That is how important Adiola is to that organization. Because if Adiola was not there to help them understand their data, they'll probably waste time in 2026 making assumptions. And then by the end of the year, they will still not have hit their target, by doubling the revenue, maybe making $2 million or $3 million, right? So Adiola is a key player in this organization. Again, if you're an introvert and you want something very simple, go for data analytics. So if this sounds like something you're interested in, I want you to put DA in the chat. Christabel, you're doing this. You're doing this, Christabel. DA, Eleanor says DA as well. Anyone? Anyone else? Anyone else wants to be a data analyst? Christina says DA. Oluwatoyin says DA. Fantastic. David, oh, wow. Almost everybody. Okay. So now let's move on. Now, let's move on to the second sister in the family, and that is the data scientist. Now, the data scientist is, the elder sister of the data analyst. And what the data scientist does is she is able to do everything that the data analyst can do. The data analyst is our baby sister. So everything that our baby sister can do, she can also do, and she can do well. But data science is a bit more complex than data analytics. Like I said, data analytics is the simple one. Now, the data analyst answers 2 questions. The data scientist can answer 3 questions. What happened? Why did this happen? And what will happen in the future? So the data scientist is able to tell you, look, this is what happened yesterday. This is what happened this year. This is why it happened. And this is what is going to happen next year, or in 2 years' time, or in 3 years' time. All right. Data science involves coding. So if you're not interested in coding, if you feel like you are not interested in anything that will challenge you a little bit right now, you just want something very simple and you want to land a job, you can go for data analytics. However, if you are open for a challenge, if you're like me, we love things that challenges us a little bit, you can go for data science. Remember that as a data scientist, a bit more technical than data analytics, you can do everything that a data analyst can do. What that means is you can probably do Adiola's job better than her. Adiola is the data analyst, remember. So if Adiola is the data analyst and David is the data scientist, right? If Adiola has 5 jobs available to her to apply to as a data analyst, and David also has 5 jobs available to him to apply to as a data scientist, David can also apply to Adiola's jobs. So making it 10 jobs that are available to David, but Adiola only has 5 jobs. So yes, data science is another wonderful role in the data family, but you have to be interested in coding. Like I said, a bit more technical than data analytics. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'll give data science a 5 over 10, and I'll give data analytics a 1 over 10 in terms of which one is difficult, which one is simple. Okay. Data science is not too simple, it is not too difficult. It is right in the middle. So if you're interested in learning about Python programming, you're interested in learning about machine learning, right? AI, automations, you're interested in computer vision, which is what is on my screen right now, where there's a backdrop, right? You don't know if I'm at the beach right now or if I'm at a bar because you can only see me. This is the work of a data scientist. So if that is something you're interested in, I want you to put DS in the chat. Now, I think it's also important. I see Elizabeth. Elizabeth put DS in the chat. I think this is, for each of these programs, we have AI embedded in them. Now, what that means is you don't have to be scared that one program has AI and the other. Every single one of them has AI in the curriculum. You get to learn how to leverage AI to make your work faster. All right. So things that you would have done in 5 days, you are able to do it with AI in 1 hour. Every single one, whether it is data analytics or data science. Now I see my DS people putting DS in the chat, the people that love a challenge. Fantastic. Fantastic. Now, let's talk about the firstborn in the family. That's the data engineer. The job of the data engineer is actually quite different from that of the data scientist and the data analyst. The data engineering program is a technical program. Can a beginner do it? Yes. However, I usually would recommend data engineering to someone who sort of has a technical standing. Maybe you studied computer science, because you have to have it at the back of your mind that data engineering is highly technical. And that's why she's the first daughter. All right. Now, the job of a data a data engineer is quite similar to the job of a plumber. When you're building a house, you bring in plumbers to connect pipes, from the water source, they transfer the water, to the storage tank, and then connect pipes from the storage tank to every room in the house, right? So that, if you open the bathroom tap or you open the shower in the bathroom, you have water running as long as there's water in the tank. If you open the kitchen tap, you have water running. If you go in your yard, in your backyard, and you open a tap, you have water running. That's exactly what a data engineer does. So they're the plumbers of the data world. They connect the pipelines that will make sure that when a data scientist or a data analyst needs data, all they have to do is open the tap and they'll have data available to them. That is the job of a data engineer. So you'll be in charge of building custom ETL pipelines. ETL means extract, transform, and load. So how do you build pipelines that will extract water from the source, right? From the borehole. You extract water, you filter the water, there's a filtration system, and then you load it into the storage tank so that there's clean water in the storage. And then when anybody needs it in the house, when they go in the kitchen or they go in the bathroom, they open a tap, they have clean water. So the data engineer does the same thing. They build pipes to extract data, they clean the messy data, and then they load it into a storage where the data analyst and the data scientist will have access to. Now, if you're interested in technicalities, you want to be very tech savvy, you want to learn Python programming the way a software engineer would learn Python programming, You want to learn cloud engineering, GCP, Google Cloud Platform, Azure, AWS, then data engineering is for you. Not to worry, we'll take it from the basics still. All right. But if you know that you're a technical person and you are intrigued by, Python, you're intrigued by how technical it could get, I want you to put DE in the chats. DE, these are for technical people. DE. Do we have any data engineers in the house? Any aspiring data engineers in the house? Anybody? Nobody. Okay, not to worry. We have 5 more programs. Now we have these 2 types of data analysts. We have the financial analysts and then we have the HR analysts. Now these guys are also, they work in the background as well, okay? And they're types of data analysts, all right? So just the way data analytics is simple, these 2 programs are also very simple. There are types of data analysts that are able to, have decided to niche down. These are specialists. So, for example, the financial analyst is someone who has a background in finance. So, if you have a background in finance, economics, accounting, even if you have not, what's the word now? You have not worked with that degree. You have not worked basically with it. You have not done a job with it. As long as you have a background in finance, in accounting, in economics, and you are interested in continuing in that field. If you're currently an accountant, a practicing accountant, but you want to upskill, then the financial analytics program is for you. It's 2 in 1, right? You get to learn data analytics. What a data analyst would learn, you also learn it here. But then we take it a step further and we also teach you about the financial aspects. You learn your accounting fundamentals, your balance sheet, your income statement. You learn about your accounting cycle. How do you differentiate between an asset, and a liability? You learn all of those wonderful things. How do you build financial models so that you're able to help companies make projections, financial projections to say, hey, look, this is 2026. And if we want to make profits after this investment we just made at a 30% profit margin or at a 15% profit margin, will break even in 2029. You are able to build a model that will tell the organization exactly how much they'll be making from 2026 to 2027 to 2028 and what the profit margin will be. So financial analytics is more for people who have a background in finance. So if you have a background in finance, accounting, economics, finance, if you're part of the money guys, all right, you used to work in the finance department and you want to upskill, you want to level up, then the financial analytics program is for you. And I want you to put FA in the chats. So like I said, this is a 2 in 1 program. You'll be learning data analytics as well as finance. Oh, we have a lot of financial analysts in the house. Olu, Isaac, as well as Timmy. Okay, fantastic. Now, the same thing applies to HR analytics. The HR analyst is a type of data analyst who has decided to work in human resources. So if you are an HR professional, all right, and what you do right now is you send emails, you send policies, all of that, and you want to be so much more than that. You want to be so much better. You want to be able to use data to identify trends in the organization, right? Then the HR analytics program is for you. It's also 2 in 1. So you'll be learning everything that the data analyst would learn. And then we take it a step further. You start to learn things that are specific to HR. How do you come up with KPIs for employees in the organization? How do you carry out performance evaluation for employees in the organization? How do you calculate attrition metrics? How do you calculate absenteeism? Using trends in the data. How do you use human resource management system, your HRMS? All right. Compensation and pay equity analysis. You're learning all of these different things. And also, of course, how you can leverage AI in your role. So if you have a background in HR, or even if you don't have a background, if you have an interest in HR, in the human resources department, then the HR program is for you. And I want you to put HR in the chats. Put HR in the chats. Okay. All right, then we've come to the cybersecurity program. Now, cybersecurity is also another technical program, okay, that I would usually recommend to someone who has a background in tech, any slight background. It could be, you have worked as an IT support before, a network engineer, or you studied computer science, because again, this is a technical field that requires a lot of research. In fact, cybersecurity only gets more technical as you climb up the ladder. All right. So it's even the easiest right now that you're learning it, but it gets more complex as you climb up the ladder. Who is a cybersecurity analyst? Just like the name implies, cybersecurity. These are the digital security guards. These are the people that are guarding, computer systems, networks, and databases from cyber threats. So you see the Bank of America, the CBN, all these organizations that deal with maybe money or sensitive information, even the NHS, right? Where they have patient information and so on and so forth. They need a cybersecurity analyst to make sure that, hackers are not able to hack in and then hold them ransom. I mean, we watch a lot of movies where, in the hospital, hackers will just hack into the system and turn off all the devices. People that are on dialysis, people that need machines to leave and all of that, they turn everything off. And then they hold the company to a ransom and say, you need to pay $10 million before we can give you access to your patient records. That's why cybersecurity analysts are very important. Now, in cybersecurity, we have three teams. We have the red team, we have the blue team, and we have the purple team. The red team are the attackers, the penetration testers, people who hack into systems, ethical hacking. So when an organization is coming up with a system or an application that they want to push out to the general public, and they know that they are dealing with sensitive information or people's money, before they push it to the general public, they could hire a cybersecurity analyst, a penetration tester, to say, hey, we're going to pay you to try and hack into our system. We just built this system, we're about to launch it, but we want to make sure that it is secure. So we're going to pay you some money. You will try to break into the system. And then if there are any vulnerabilities, if there are there are things that we're not doing right, that we need to beef up our security, just help us document it, give us a report, and then we'll work on it. That is the job of a penetration tester. So that person tries to exploit the system. That person tries to break into the system, tries to, find the vulnerabilities in that system, and then the person prepares a report and then says to the organization, look, I was able to hack into your system in 30 minutes. Your system is not strong. So this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do. This is what you need to do to make sure that, malicious hackers are not able to get into your system. That's an example of someone who works in the red team. Now, we also have the blue team, people who are manning the systems 24/7. These are the defenders. These are the people that whenever a hacker is trying to get into the system, they get notified that something is about to happen. So they block that attack. People in the blue team, we have the SOC analysts, right? Manning the systems 24/7. They have set up, different notifications here and there so that they're able to detect any threats that is coming in and they're able to respond to that threat. All right. And then we have the purple team. Now, if you're familiar with your primary colors, you know that when you mix red and blue, you get purple. That is our specialty here at 10Analytics. So what it means is we're going to teach you both the activities of the red team as well as the activities of the blue team so that you are able to work in either field, depending on what you want. So again, organizations these days, they want people who have at least, who have some sort of idea, who have some sort of experience of the other fields. So that is what we do in our cybersecurity program. Charles is asking for the attendance link that will be shared with you shortly, Charles, so you can fill it and get access to the recording of the session. So we're going to teach you everything that there is to know about the red team as well as the blue team, and then you're able to build a career for yourself after the program in either team. So you can say, you know what, when we did penetration testing in class, I was really, really impressed, and that's what I want to focus on. Or when we did SOC analysis in class, or when we did threat intelligence in class, I was really impressed, and that's what I would like to focus on. So like I said, cybersecurity is a technical field, but you are up to the task. So if you know that you are open to, getting into cybersecurity, you're open to the technicalities of it, put CS in the chats. Let me see my cybersecurity analysts, my network engineers, my threat intelligence analysts, my penetration testers. Put CS in the chats. Olu, I feel like I've seen your responses like 2 times now. You're going to have to pick one, okay? So Olu put CS in the chat. Any other person? All right. Now let's move on to DevOps engineering. Now, I'm going to be very, very, very brief here. With DevOps engineering, DevOps means development and operations. So your job in DevOps engineering is to, make sure that the systems or the softwares that have been built are actually working well. So you're able to build a lot of automations. You're able to automate a lot of processes, manual processes. You're able to integrate a lot of processes between the development team and the operations team. So it's more than just building tech. And maybe you built an application and then you're like, oh, I built this application, take. No, a DevOps engineer would, excuse me, a DevOps engineer would go ahead to monitor those systems that have been built and then keep optimizing the system. All right. So as things are, as the world is evolving, so, large companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and so on and so forth, they have DevOps engineers. So as the world is evolving, they want to make sure the DevOps engineer is making sure that the tech that was built, it keeps working. They're optimizing it, they're testing it, all right, and they're automating a lot of things. So you're going to be learning unit testing, you're going to be learning integration testing, automation. How do you automate things so that you don't have to do it manually every single time? You're going to be learning cloud deployment. So DevOps engineering is also a technical program, but it's beginner friendly. Okay. If you're interested in getting technical, if you're interested in coding, you want to learn how to start writing scripts, for automations, you want to learn about the Linux operating system and so on and so forth, then DevOps engineering is for you. Then let's move on to product design. Now, if you have an eye for design, if you are a graphic designer, or you just find out that every time you sit down, sometimes once you have a pen and paper, you just start sketching things. You have an eye for design. And then every single time you open a mobile application on your phone, the first thing you're looking at is the first thing you're looking at is what that design looks like. Does it look nice? Or are the colors too harsh on the eyes? Things like that. That's what you're looking at. Then the product design program is for you. This is typically for people who are creative, people who love design, people who love to design things, people who love to beautify things. Those are the people that should go for product design. Now you get to design applications. Every single application you have, every single website you see, right? They were designed by someone. A designer is like an architect. You know the way an architect will come up with the blueprints of the home before the builders can actually build it. That's what the designer does. The designer comes up with the wireframes, all right? The UI, the user interface, that's what it's called, UI. The UI of the application of the website. And then that's what the developers work on. So designers are very important. Without designers, a lot of our apps, a lot of the applications, even WhatsApp that we have on our phones today, we will not have them. Designers are very, very important. They're the ones that are in charge of design. So when you open an application and you say, wow, this app is beautiful. Look at the colors. I love the colors. That's the work of a designer. So if you're a creative person just like that, then the product design program is for you. Now, just before we wrap up, I want to share something that is very, very important, something that you need to know. And the truth is that, global hiring doesn't just happen anyhow. It doesn't happen randomly. There are what we call hiring cycles across the calendar year, from January down to December, hiring cycles. And you have to be prepared in order for you to run ahead of the said hiring cycle. All right. Now, across the US, across the UK, across Canada, companies ramp up their recruitments. The peak, or let's say the first hiring cycle, the first hiring boom happens in January and February. You have already missed that. If you're on this session right now, you have missed it, and that's okay. But there's another one that is coming up between June and July. There's another hiring cycle that is coming up between June and July. How do you make sure that you do not miss the next hiring cycle? It's only if you start now. Because when these organizations start hiring in June or in July, they're not going to be hiring beginners, and that's the truth. They're going to be hiring people who are already trained. They're going to be hiring people who already have portfolios. They're going to be hiring people who can land on their feet, who can start immediately. So if you are serious about landing a remote job, you want to work from anywhere, you're serious about getting global opportunities, a job that will offer you visa sponsorship, you cannot start preparing in June. You have to start preparing right now. So if you start in March, the third month of the year, By June, you're already 3 months in. By July, you're 4 months in. At that point, you have 4 months of experience working on practical projects. You have 4 months of experience building skills. You have 4 months of experience creating a portfolio that proves what you can do. So if you start in March, all right, by May, you are job ready. By June, you're already applying to jobs. And then by the second half of the year, you are positioned for a lot of opportunities that a lot of people will not be ready for till 2027, which is next year. So again, I'm giving you the hack to get a remote job this year. So if you know that by the time June, July comes around, when the global hiring cycle starts again, when the visa cycle starts again across the different regions, you want to be prepared, then this is the time to think about it. If you wait till June to start learning, you most likely miss the cycle. But if you start in March, by the time the hiring cycle starts, you are already prepared. So if this is something that you have been thinking about, you have been thinking about transitioning into tech, you have been thinking about working remotely, you have been thinking about earning a lot of money, earning more than you currently earn right now, and you've been thinking about positioning yourself for global opportunities, the March cohort is the class for you. All right? Because that is your preparation window for the next hiring cycle. So you actually do not have to decide this minute. But the truth is that whether you decide to join the March class or not, the global hiring cycle will start in June, with or without you. So you want to be able to position yourself for success in that class. All right? So how can you start today? Like I mentioned, there is a class starting on the 7th of March, 2026. And you're able to join that class. Now, for all the programs, whether it is business analysis to DevOps engineering, I'm sure you have been able to identify the program that is the best fit for you. All these programs, the timeline is 8 months. So you spend 6 months learning in class and 2 months of internship. And there's the blended learning approach I spoke about earlier, where you have a blend of live classes and, pre-recorded videos that you can watch anytime. Now, the original price for all of our programs is $1,250. However, for 20 people, just 20 people, 20 people in this session, because I can see almost ×5 of that number on this session right now. But for 20 people on this session, you are eligible to a 20% discount. Instead of paying $1,250, you're able to get in with $1,000. And you're able to pay as many as 5 times. So you can pay in installments. My colleagues are going to start dropping the link in the chat. We only need 20 people, just 20 people to take advantage of this discount. So it is the fastest 20. The first 20 to register would pay $1,000. If you are the 21st person to register, you'll be paying the full amount. All right. Now, it doesn't end here. There's some other bonuses that I have available to you if you can register today. I expect that people, as you're listening to the sound of my voice right now, people are already registering. If you register today, you skip to the front of the line. What that means is that you get a lot of privileges that people who would register tomorrow and people who register on Monday will not get. Now, what are these privileges? The first thing is you get access to the Founder Circle. Now, what is the Founder Circle? The Founder Circle is an exclusive group that we only have 2 times in a year. The people in this group is a very small group. Like I said, just 20 people. 20 people. These 20 people, they get exclusive access to the founders of Tenalytics. So you're able to get direct mentorship from the founders, Adeza Suleiman and Efemena. You're able to get direct mentorship from them. You get a personalized transition roadmap. They discuss with you, what is your current position? Where is your exact situation right now? And how can you transition from where you are at currently to where you need to be in 3 months or in 6 months or in 4 months? These founders are going to be holding your hand and working with you through the entire process. You also get a tailored guide on jobs that you can apply to. Now, not everybody gets access to the founders. They're very busy. So people in the program, the normal people in the program, of course, you get access to mentorship, right? You have people prepping you for interviews and so on and so forth, but you do not get access to the founders. The only people who get access to the founders, direct exclusive access, are the 20 people who register today. Now, you also get immediate access to mentorship. We have mentorship every single Thursday. And then other people that register would have to wait till, usually you have to wait till when your class starts. So if if you're starting on the 7th of March, that's when you get mentorship. If you're starting on the 11th of April, that's when you start getting mentorship. But people who register today, ahead of the March class or the April class, you are able to start getting early access immediately. You start mentorship from next week. All right. When you start to learn from industry experts, you start to practice interview simulations. All right. So while other people are waiting to start the class, you are already learning. Now, for people who are interested in the UK Global Talents Visa, you also get, of course, because you have direct access to the founders, you will be getting insider knowledge for free. This is something that people pay to get. They pay thousands of pounds to get. You'll be getting immigration knowledge for free from the founders. And of course, you get a reference or recommendation letter to back it up when you want to make your submission. And then finally, you have lifetime access to us. We are always on standby for you whenever the opportunity arises. So you have lifetime access to interview prep. So if you're getting an interview in 2030, you know, even though you joined the program in 2026, and then, in 2030, you are moving to another role and you have another interview, you can always come back to us and we'll prep you for that interview. You also get lifetime references. You can put down our name anytime, anywhere to get professional backing, and you have lifetime access to mentorship session. Again, this particular package is only available to the people who register today. Now, let me show you what registration looks like. Like I said, my colleagues are already dropping the link in the chat. If you click on that link, this is what you are going to see. All right, let's just give it a minute to verify my browser. You're going to see a link to all the programs that we currently offer. All the programs that we offer, a list of them. So you see all these programs, and what you want to do for the people that have identified that they want to go into project management, for the people that have identified they want to go into data analytics, business analysis, you just want to pick the program for you, right? You want to pick a specific program that you can go for. Now, once you pick that program, the next thing that you want to do is you want to click on Buy Now. So I'm just going to use the data analytics program as an example. So you click on Buy Now for data analytics. And when you click on Buy Now, it opens up the program description. Every single thing you need to know about this program is available on the screen. You're able to see the minimum number of projects that you get to work on while you're with us here at Analytics. You're able to see the curriculum of the program, what you're going to be learning every single week, right? You're able to see the different problem-solving techniques, every single thing that you want to know about this program. You can take your time to go through it. Now, right here on this screen, you have this Enroll Now button. And you want to click on this. Now, once you click on Enroll Now, you'll be prompted to create a free account with us. It's going to take you less than 1 minute. We just need your full name, your email address, and your phone number. Now, once you put that in, you'll be able to confirm your enrollment. Then you can select which of the classes you'd like to start. We have a class starting on the 7th of March, but if that is too soon for you, you can register for the class starting on the 11th of April instead. You just have to select which one you'd like to go for. After that, you are then able to select a convenience payments plan. You're going to see the pricing of this course in your local currency. So if you're in the UK, you see it in pounds. If you're in the US, you see it in USD. If you're in Nigeria, you see it in Naira, and so on and so forth, depending on your location. So you are able to pay in your local currency. Now, depending on the plan that you choose, whether you want to pay full-time payments, 2 times or 5 times, depending on the plan that you choose, you get to save a little bit more. So for example, if you want to pay everything at once, you'll be paying $850 instead of $1,000. If you want to pay 2 times, you'll be paying a sum total of $900 US. And then if you want to pay 5 times, you'll be paying $1,000 US, which is the discounted price. Okay, so what it means is that right now you need a deposit of a minimum deposit of $200 US or £153 for people in the UK. If you have a minimum deposit of £153, you are able to start getting mentorship. You get access to the founders immediately. You get immediate access to mentorship, from next week. You get access to, the UK visa, the UK Global Talent visa, if that's something you're interested in, and you get lifetime access to us for interview preps, for references, and so on and so forth. Only 20 people. I see 3 payments just came in. Only 20 people. Now we have 17 slots left. So what you want to do, just identify your, convenience payments plan. If you want to go 5 times, 2 times, or once, then click on apply discounts. And then you can go ahead to confirm your information on this screen and then make payments using your card. And just like that, you are in. So now I'm going to be taking a look at the chat to see if I have any questions for me from anyone. Oliver says, will I be entitled to lifetime access to your LMS platform? Yes, 101%, Oliver. You get lifetime access to the LMS platform. Olunike says, what if you want to register now, but you want to pay next month? Now, that does not count, Olunike. Your initial deposit is what will secure your spots. Okay? People are already making payments. Your initial deposit is what will secure your spots. Kingsley says, how much is the $200 in Naira? So let's take a look at that for you, Kingsley. Let's go back and change this. So there's a currency selector right here. But once you navigate to this site, depending on your location, you will see it in your local currency. Now, this is it in Naira. In Naira, that is 310,000 Naira. So Kingsley, you need a minimum deposit of 310,000 Naira right now in order for you to start your training next month. Okay? So I hope I've been able to answer that question. Charles Berry says, if I want to pay half amount, that is in 2 installments, after 3 months, I will balance, right? No. So Charles, you get to pay every single month. All right. So if you want to go for 2 installments, for example, what that means to you, let's switch this to pounds, is that you are paying 345 pounds 2 times. So if you select this, sorry, let me reload this page. If you select this and you click on apply discounts, it's going to show you when your next payment would be due. So let me take this back to pounds. 345 pounds times 2. So when you select this plan and you click on apply discounts, it's going to show you when your next payment will be due. And it is monthly. However, you can edit the payment. So you can see it here. It shows you that your first payment is due today, 21st of February, and then the next one will be due on the 21st of March. Now, if you don't get paid on the 21st, maybe you get paid at the end of the month. So instead of paying on the 21st for your next payment, you'd like to pay on the 31st, or you'd like to pay even on the 4th of April. You can edit the dates right here. So you click on edit date and then you select 4th of April and you save it. So what it does is automatically it edits the next date for you. So you are able to choose when next you have money to make payments, but you cannot make your next payments after 3 months. So I hope I've been able to answer that question. Charles Berry. So let me see if I have more questions. Regina says, hi, Nana, I'm on a skilled worker visa in health. How do I transition or combine my skills when acquired as the visa has restrictions? Fantastic question. Now, this also is it ties in with Billion's question on health analytics. Yes. So if you're looking to transition within healthcare, Regina, since you are on a skilled worker visa in healthcare, if you're looking to transition within the healthcare ecosystem, you can go for the health tech program. I'm going to be showing you what that looks like shortly. Now you're able to make that smooth transition. Sometimes you're even able to do it within the organization. So we have people who, for example, were working as a healthcare assistant with the NHS. And then after taking the training, they were able to transition still within the same NHS into becoming a pathology data analyst or a healthcare data analyst. And you're able to keep your sponsorship. So it doesn't affect. Now, if you can't transition within the same organization, you're still able to land a job with any health organization and it will not affect your visa. So I hope that has answered your question, Regina and Billions. Onyinye says, how much is it? I have answered that question. It is 1,000 US dollars discounted price. Rachel says, how long are your courses? I've also answered that. It is 8 months in total. Now, let me show Regina and Billions how to navigate and register for the health tech program. So the health tech program is the very last one on the screen. This is the link to join our healthcare data school. So all you want to do is scroll to the very bottom and click on buy now for health tech. So once you click on buy now, you'll be able to follow the same process that I explained earlier. And this is ideal for individuals who are transitioning into healthcare analytics from various fields, as well as professionals who are already working in health organizations who want to become more data driven. So if you're already in the healthcare space, you want to become more data driven, you want to upskill, you're currently a healthcare assistant and you want to transition from being that into health tech, this is the program for you. All right, so let me see if I have more questions in the chat. Ebon says, I missed a short seminar done this week. Is it possible for me to get? So I see my colleague has already responded to you, Ebon Lua. So please share your email and it will be sent to you. Ore Olua. Hi, Ore. Very familiar name. I think I can put a face to the name actually. You have a question. So you just completed your training in Scrum Master, but you are yet to start your internship. So you mentioned something about PMP in Canada. After the internship, how do I work towards that? And for visa sponsorship, how does it work for someone that lives in Nigeria? Fantastic question. Now, Ore, you must have been getting, if you're in the Agile Project Management program, then you're very familiar with Sofiat, your program coordinator. Now, Sofiat must have been, uploading or sending you notifications on a weekly basis on job openings. Now, as much as you're getting job openings from, Sofiat, you're also going ahead, all right, to apply to jobs on your own as well. Now, remember that we are always here for interview prep, but not to worry. Just communicate your worries to Sofiat. Reach out to Sofiat directly. She can put you in direct contact with me, and I will make sure to provide guidance, for you as well. So while you wait for your internship with Amdari, okay? So Oluwatoyin says, how can I make payments for health tech? Please go ahead to, yes, Ore, we met at a physical event. I remember you. So Toyin, please go ahead to select the health tech program like I just mentioned. Drop your full name in the chat and then go ahead to select health tech my colleague just dropped the link in the chat. Click on that link. It takes you directly to the list of all the programs that we offer. Just scroll to the last one on the list, Oluwatoyin. Scroll to the very last one, and that is health tech. So you click on health tech, buy now, and then you'll be able to register. Okay. So let's see. Bumi says, will the payment plan show on the page remain and for how long? It's a good investment, but not everyone can make immediate payments as I have a budget for this. So Bumi is only available to 20 people. Once 20 people make payments, it is gone. So the truth is, like you said, it's a good investment. So you want to just look for the best plan for you. That is why it's for people like yourself, we, put in the instrumental plan. So if you cannot pay all at once, that's okay. You can pay 2 times. If you can't pay 2 times, that's okay as well. You can go for 3 times. The idea is to just make it very accessible. 5 times, pardon. So very accessible. Just make a minimum deposits because it's only available for 20 people. I see payments already coming in. So that is going to end very, very soon. Okay. So Tolope says, can I pay now and start in March of 2027? Tolope, that is 13 months from now. So the answer to that question is no. You can pay now to start in March of 2026, April of 2026, or May of 2026. Okay, so you can pay now to start between March to April this year. By 2027, the price of the program will probably be times 2 of this. So you cannot, Tolulope, I am answering your question right now. You cannot start in March of 2027. But if you'd like to start this year, March, April, or May, please go ahead and make your payments, okay? HP says after making the initial payments, are the rest deducted automatically? Yes, HP. Elizabeth says after the learning and internship process, will one receive unlimited guidance? Yes. Yes, Elizabeth. Very familiar. We spoke as well. So yes, you will be receiving unlimited guidance after, your internship and learning. Kingsley says, I tried creating an account, but it says registration failed. So Kingsley, please, I want you to refresh right now. I think there's a lot of people on the site right now. So please refresh and try again immediately. All right. Ebon says, hello, Elizabeth. Okay, I think that has been answered. Do we have more questions? More questions. Kingsley, what you want to do is you want to try to register again. All right. Refresh the entire page and try to create an account again. Refresh the entire page and try to create an account again. So I believe we can stop the recording of this session now while I take questions in the chat. So if you have more questions, feel free to send them in. All right. Send in your